Good morning, everybody. It's 8:10. This is Delegate Scott Taylor. I'm sitting in for John, the John Fredericks Show. John is on spring break. I think we thought that he's in Guatemala or Cancun or probably in bed. But he'll be back after Thursday. But I'm in here sitting down, and today we've had some great guests. And right now we have a candidate for Virginia Beach School Board, Osmay Torres. Osmay, are you there?
Yes, how's it going, Scott? Good morning.
Bien, bien. Buenos días. Un placer hablar contigo esta mañana. ¿Cómo estás?
Buenos días. I remember our complete conversation in Spanish. I was very impressed.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And of course, Osmay, your family is from Cuba, or you're actually born in Cuba, weren't you?
That's right. Yes, I was born in Cuba and left Cuba when I was 5 and went to Costa Rica. And then 2 years after that, we got lucky enough and landed in the U.S.
It's too bad that you left when you were 5. I think it'd be nice to be in the middle of downtown Havana looking out over the Caribbean and having a mojito.
Yeah, but if I stayed, I don't think I would have been in the category that would have been having mojitos.
That's true. We're happy that you're here, of course, and hopefully sometime soon Cuba opens up, and it would be an amazing vacation destination and also an economic boom, I think, for southern United States, because who's going to supply them with everything and the critical infrastructure and everything that they need is America.
Right.
So it would be I'm looking forward to it when they open up, when they become more capitalist. But anyways,
right.
You also studied at Regent University, right? American Government and the Sorensen Institute for Political Leadership as well.
Right. Yeah, you've run the full gamut today. You went from Egypt to the state level to the federal level, and now we're as local as politics can get, which is school board.
That's right. We do it all. We do it all here, sitting in for John at the John Fredericks Show, and I'm curious by nature, and I got to do a lot of things to stay out of trouble. But anyways, so you're running for Virginia Beach School Board. It's your first time running. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And, I know
first time running, and I get that question a lot. Every time I tell somebody I'm running for school board, they always ask me, why are you running for school board? I just got asked that last night by a few folks, and there's two sides to that question. The one is the high level philosophical, why are you running, and then there's the what's your agenda. So sometimes, depending on who you're talking to, you got to figure out. So maybe I can tell you a little bit about the high level philosophical reason why I'm running.
Tell us. We want to know why you're running and what your vision is, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I have a vested interest. As a father of 2 girls that are in the school system, obviously I have a vested interest. You're a new father. Congratulations. By the way, your kid is absolutely adorable.
Thank you, man. Sterling is awesome. He's awesome.
Mount Trashmore videos that you post with him playing soccer and everything. So, very cute kid. But as a father, you also have a vested interest in the school system. In a few years, he'll be enrolling in our school system. So, it's crucial. So I have a vested interest. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. I also, as a former naval officer, and you served in the Navy honorably as a Navy SEAL. I think I have the background, I have the leadership, and I have the experience to deal with the complex issues that school boards deal with. Personnel issues. You're talking about, insanely large budgets for a local school system. They're actually just sending the budget in now to City Council, and they'll be reviewing that, as a matter of fact, today for the first time. So, I have the experience. At the young age of 23, I was in charge of 110 personnel division and a budget. And by the time I left the Navy, and I honorably separated as a lieutenant commander from the reserves, I did 9 years total. I had a division as large as 750 personnel, with a couple $1 million in budget. So, this is nothing new to me. Currently, I'm working outside in the private sector, but I've had the background, the leadership, and the experience, I think, to serve Virginia Beach very well. And I also have a passion for education. You kind of touched on my story, but let me just go back a little further. My father decided to leave Cuba to seek better opportunities for us, and we left when I was 5. We were political exiles in Costa Rica, and the way that works is you're essentially allowed to leave the country to go anywhere from, I have family in Turkey, I have family in Spain, I have family in Ecuador, I have family all over the world that have left Cuba to go there, but, for one reason or the other, it takes time to get your visas to come in. We were blessed because when we were in Costa Rica, President Reagan signed an executive order saying if you're a political exile anywhere in the world, our doors are open. So my father went to the embassy in San Jose, Costa Rica, filled out the paperwork, and it took a couple of months, I think 6 to 8 months, but then we were allowed to come to the U.S. And when we came to the U.S., we first stopped where every other Cuban usually stops, which is Miami, Florida. So we were there, and I got
capital of
sat
South
in the back
America,
of the classroom,
right?
and, no bilingual program, just kind of left to fend for myself. And I got left back, unfortunately. And my father called my uncle in New York, and, they had a robust system in New York where they had a bilingual program. There was also more economic opportunity up there. So he packed the whole family up after a year, and we moved to New York City. I got enrolled in the public school systems there, went on to learn the English language, obviously, and I went to a magnet middle school, which in New York City they call it junior high, but it's middle school. I went to an academy, Aerospace Science Academy, which is a magnet program, graduated valedictorian from that program, went on to a magnet high school, one of the 5 in New York City, Aviation High School, and graduated with honors from there, and then went on to get a scholarship with the Navy, and went on. The rest is history. Went on to get, an MBA at Florida State, like you mentioned, a master's in government. So, my story is one of education, and one that, I attribute everything I have in life and where I am in life to 2 things. One is my father having the intestinal fortitude, as my Marine Corps drill instructors used to say at Officer Candidate School in Pensacola. You got to have intestinal fortitude. Well, my father had intestinal fortitude because I couldn't imagine just picking up, your 2 kids, your wife, going to a foreign country that you have no idea, what is on the other side for you, and just saying, it's got to be better than where we are now. And so, but I've experienced the best of public education. I also experienced the worst early on. So I know what education can do, and if it can do that for me, it can do it. And not to mention that we have a great school system in Virginia Beach. When I separated from the Navy, that was one of the reasons why we stayed here. We had a family. We had started a family. We had 2 daughters at the time, and we decided, I had job offers. I could have gone pretty much anywhere I wanted in the world, even overseas. But we decided Virginia Beach was just a great place to raise your family. It's a small, large city. It's got that small town feel, but it's also not so small to where you don't have opportunities. And currently our school systems, in Virginia are ranked 4th by Education Week. So we've done a very good job. But at the end of the day, I have a vested interest just like you do. I have the background, I have the leadership, I have the experience, and I have a passion for education, not just because I want to seek political office. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of different motivations for why they seek office, but education is at the foundation of everything that I have, and I attribute it, and I just want to be able to give back now. It's my turn to give back and serve the people.
Well, let me ask you a question. Like you said, we have great schools here, and we're very blessed and fortunate to have that. What are your thoughts? One of the things that we worked on this session, and I actually co-patron under the leadership of Delegate Tad Greason, who sponsored the bill, and that was reforming the SOLs to make sure that our kids aren't just memorizing and teaching. We're being taught to a test, but they're learning things like critical thinking, things that are going to help them be successful in life and help them with intestinal fortitude, like your father, to take chances and risks and better their lives. So what are your thoughts on reforming SOLs and just the SOLs in general?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you for your efforts. I know you were a freshman delegate, but I thought you did a stellar job up there for your first term.
Thanks.
And I was following you guys very closely. So thanks for your service up there, your continued service up there. One of the guys that I think, one of the delegates that does the best job of explaining, I've seen him explain it about 3 times. Just this last weekend, I was at the Fairline CAG breakfast, and one of the panelists, was Frank Wagner, who you had on the show, Delegate Chris Stolley, and Delegate Glenn Davis. Glenn Davis, very passionate about education. He actually serves on the committee, and he does a great job of explaining the great stuff that the House of Delegates has done this year. I'm completely for the bill you guys passed. I think it was a great move. There's a lot of reforms that still need to happen, but this was a great start. Reducing the number of SOLs through the 8th grade is great, and I think we need to focus more on critical thinking and that kind of thing. And, Glenn Davis does a great analogy. He says the difference is SOLs currently, you ask a kid, who won the American Revolution, and that's just, fact of matter. You know who won the American Revolution and what year it was. But critical thinking and to be more competitive in a global economy, in a global marketplace, critical thinking skill would be a question like, who won the American Revolution? And if, let's say the British would have won, how would that have impacted us? and how would the world be different today? And so you kind of have to analyze it. There is no right or wrong answer, but it's just the exercise of thinking through what would have been differently. And so, the critical thinking skills, and this will free up some time for that in the classroom, and that's great. The other thing is the difference in the testing, where now, you don't just test whether Susie and Bobby know the same answers, but it's called adaptive testing, where if Susie and Bobby get the first answer correctly, then they get the same second answer. But if Bobby gets it wrong and Susie gets it right, Bobby will get an easier question. So now you're able to gauge, where the student actually is and what they know, not just, in relation to the big scheme. So I think it was a great bill. I think it's a great start to a lot of reform that's coming down the pike from the House of Delegates and the Senate as well.
Well, thank you. Talk to me about, and I know that everybody has their different methods and things like that, but what are you doing to get your message out? What are you doing to talk to people? What are you hearing anything specifically, or any issues that are rising to the top? But how are you getting out there? Because of course, school board a lot of times gets kind of pushed down on the ballot, and not as much attention as other positions, like Scott Ridgell's on the ballot this year. Obviously, that's gets more press and things such as that nature. So what are you doing to rise above the fold to make sure people know that you're there and to get your message out?
Sure. Well, the good thing for us is that we don't have, like Chesapeake is having a May election. Luckily for us, we're having a November election. So people will be turning out. Like you said, Scott Ridgell has, a big campaign ahead of him. And then we have, whoever the Republican candidate ends up being after the convention in Roanoke against Senator Warner. So we do have those two big races on November 4th, and people, I'm assuming, will be turning out for that. So, but the biggest thing I can do is try to get my name out there, try to be known, and just get my message out. I've launched a website, so if people can visit it, it's osmaytorres.com, O-S-M-A-Y, Torres, T-O-R-R-E-S.com. From there, it's linked up with Facebook, Twitter. I got a LinkedIn account as well, Google+. You can email the website. Social media is one way of getting out, but I'm also going out. Like I mentioned, this last Saturday, I was at the Phil Amcag, and Noni Abrahano is the chairman, graciously invited me, so I attended that, and just trying to get out to as many gatherings as I can. Every night of the week, pretty much there's something going on in our city where I can be at, whether it's a homeowner association, some sort of political breakfast, or some sort of political group, a gathering of some sort. Tonight I'll be at the Law Enforcement Training Academy. There's going to be a safety seminar given by the Crime Prevention Unit on airsoft, which is a big thing that kids do, and how to actually be safer. So that's what that's about. But I'll be out there tonight to that, and talking to parents about education, that kind of thing.
I just got a little text. Are you out there door knocking? That's what I got a text for. Like, are you door knocking?
Oh, yes. I mean, we are definitely going to start our ground campaign. One of the things, one of the hard parts about, one of the difficult things of school board is raising money. But the equalizer for money is, if you don't have enough money, which you can get, is volunteers and yourself as well, and go door knocking. That's the great equalizer. So we're definitely going to be door knocking. The good thing about, campaign kicked off about 2.5, 3 weeks ago now, officially filed, got the website going. Now I can actually get my name out there and start a door knocking. So the good thing is we started early because we knew that our game plan had to be a ground game. That's basically our number one game plan, getting out there and then getting enough funds going to be able to get signs and that kind of stuff. It's just standard things. But yeah, ground game is going to be the number one thing we're going to do to get our name out there, and attending as many activities as we can where parents are going to be, is the ones that actually care about school board the most. So the parents that have the kids in the school system.
Sure. Well, this is Delegate Scott Taylor sitting in for John of the John Fredericks Show. It's 8:24. We're speaking to Virginia Beach School Board candidate Osmay Torres. He is interested in giving his message to you, and then of course earning your vote in November. Osmay, talk to me quickly about Cuba, and let's shift gears completely. But let's talk about Cuba. Do you think that it would be an economic boon for America if they became capitalist, and then we could flood in there for vacation and things such that nature, and do infrastructure, and then export Virginia products and services to Cuba out of our port? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's where I kind of differ, and it obviously has very little to do with what I'm running on, but as very low. I did want to tell you, I got 4 priorities that I kind of wanted to focus on, but we'll touch on that if we have time. If not, it's on my website under priorities.
I'm going to take you off your message a little bit.
I differ from the Cuban-American community in Miami. They're big on the embargo. I think it's philosophically, I think the embargo would be effective, but it hasn't been, and it's been proven that it hasn't been because Fidel Castro is still in power. Raúl, his brother, is the official leader of Cuba. Now he's the president, but everyone knows that Fidel Castro, assuming he's still alive, which no one actually knows, is still in power. So the embargo, while rhetorically and philosophically it works, practically it hasn't. And I think the rest of the world trades with Cuba. The only ones that don't trade with Cuba, all of Latin America pretty much trades with Cuba, all of Asia, all of Africa, all of Europe. So for the most part, they're not really hurting economically except for the sanctions that we have on them. But I think rhetorically it's a good tool, but practically it hasn't worked. So, I'm personally for lifting the embargo, and I think there should be some, more efforts we can do to maybe free the people of Cuba in other ways. But it won't be until something like the Arab Spring where the people actually rise up. But I don't think an economic embargo from the U.S. has done much to free the people of Cuba.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's sort of a generational thing. I think the new generation down there, like, why aren't we going there? Why can't we go there on vacation and stuff like that? But of course, you have some of the old resentment that's there. But as we wrap up, we're going to ask a few questions, a little bit of lightning round for you. And it's funny. And I have full disclosure, I have some SEAL buddies who are texting me and telling me to make sure I get a couple words in that. That they work these words in, and I think it's hilarious. And they know that you're from Cuba, and they're like, all right, well, ask him, okay, what's your favorite food, taco or burrito? And I just had a taco for breakfast, by the way.
Neither one. Actually, Cubans don't eat tacos or burritos. That's Mexican. But my favorite Cuban food is just arroz con pollo, which is just chicken and yellow rice. And I also like something we call congri, which is black beans, white rice mixed together, and usually we eat that with steak.
All right. Shotgun or rifle?
Rifle.
Country music or rock music?
Rock music.
Rap or dubstep?
Rap.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Ketchup or salsa?
Salsa.
Army or Navy?
Come on, Navy.
trick question. All right, brother. Listen, we got about a minute and a half here. I want to thank you for coming on. This is it's a good opportunity for you to get here. Of course, tell people who you are, what you want to do, what your message is, and we're happy to have you. And I definitely appreciate your time. And I wish you luck on your race. And I hope you are out there door knocking. I know that was something that was very helpful to me. And it just leaves an impression. There's nothing that substitutes getting in front of somebody's face, looking them in the eye, and answering their questions. So I wish you luck, and the rest of the time is yours. So go ahead and give a little sign off.
All right, great. Well, thanks, Scott. I really appreciate you. I've known you for a while now, obviously on the campaign trail from when you were running for House of Delegates. But I appreciate you reaching out to me and having me on. That was very gracious of you. Anytime you can get out and reach thousands of people, it's great. But the reason why I want to run in my platform, some of my priorities, obviously you deal with a lot of different broad issues, but some of the things I want to focus on are, academic achievement for our children. I used to have a commanding officer that used to say, mission first, people always. And you have to remember what your mission is, and then in pursuing that mission, you got to take care of your people on the way. So obviously, everything I do will focus on the children. Every decision I make on school board, I'll have that in the back of my mind. What is best for our kids, not what is best for any other stakeholders that are involved. That's the number one stakeholder we have. But I believe we can support our teachers, our staff, the administrators, and the parents, and more importantly, the students in any decision I make. So I'm going to continue to focus on academic achievement of our children.
All right, brother. We're going to a break, brother. Going to a break. We started to cut you off.
Well,
have a great day, man.
Scott, appreciate it. Have a good morning, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir. You too. Keep going.